It's going to be a peer-to-peer lending network. Sean's Toolbox is not going to own any tools. Again, remember the problem of there could be thousands and thousands and thousands of new tools out there. You can't have a tool library big enough to accommodate that. But there's also thousands and thousands of Sean's out there who have tool libraries already. They love owning those tools. They love owning that old Porsche tool that does that perfect thing perfectly every 2 decades. It's going to be national shipping based too. So, you know, when I explain this to people, sometimes they say, oh, something kind of local, you go over to Bob's house and they give you the tool. Well, no, not really, because Bob probably has a Ford and you have a Chevy, so it's really unrealistic that they would have the exact tool you need. So that's why it's going to be shipping based. Many of these tools are small enough to ship through USPS flat rate boxes too, which is really good for heavy metal items. It's also going to be an app-first service. Be able to take photographs of the status and the condition of the tool before it goes to another place is going to be a really important workflow process. So having an app-based, where all the energy is input into the app at the beginning is going to be a really great benefit. The revenue model is going to be transaction fee-based, similar to what eBay would do. They say, all right, seller, you've got, we're going to take 5% of that sale. So similar thing, we're going to connect to you, and we're going to take a small fee from that transaction. In exchange for that fee, we're going to provide insurance so that your $400 specialty Porsche tool does not disappear into the ether. You'll be compensated for that. We'll also provide shipping mechanics, so it's super seamless and easy. Just print it right on out, throw it on the box, send it away. And of course, manage the marketplace. Again, similar to what eBay does or Airbnb might do, where they connect people together and manage the experience. So where am I with this project? Well, here we go. You can join the beta. Just kidding, you can't. I'm nowhere near this right now. But I would love this to be the future, right? So as far as I have put into this, I have thought about it a lot in the shower, so I've wasted a lot of water. I have also wasted sleep thinking about it instead of falling asleep, especially if there's something exciting to do in the morning. And I made this presentation for everybody here. And that's as far as I got, but I'm pretty excited to see where this might go. I also made that logo a couple days ago. These are actually camshaft linkage tools that have been put together. So that's my presentation, and I'm excited to hear what questions you might have. Yes.
So, starting a new marketplace, what do you think is the critical mass value in there?
It's a good question. So the question is, what's the critical mass? Because any type of network or marketplace kind of needs users to make it useful. It's kind of that catch-22. I would be starting with a couple brands that I'm well invested into, automotive brands, and because they're so tight-knit, to be able to say really quickly, you know, anyone that I've talked to that's one of my shade tree mechanic friends, they hear this and they say, oh yeah, I need that, and they would jump right into it. So right now, there's not a competing marketplace, so it'd be, you could go here to get the one tool you need, and if they only have just one tool listed, but it happens to be the one you need, that's a transaction, it's just a no-brainer, right? So I think that bought through necessity right now would be the best. It would be easy to get a couple brands on to beta test it and then say, all right, now we're going to do all automotive brands are allowed to list their tools on. Any other questions? Yes?
What skills do you have in coding?
Coding skills. So I took my Spice cabinet and I color coded them, and that's as far as I can go. So that actually is a really good question. I don't have coding experience, which I think is actually a really good thing for me because I'm so hands-on. I want to do it all, and I'm just going to hoard all the work normally. And in this business, I literally cannot do that. And so it's a really good. It's going to be a really good experience for me managing the people that can do that and setting the structure up and organizing that without actually doing the work myself because it'll be a trap, probably a bad thing.
Like, you're on to a really innovative idea. Because I think you're solving a serious problem like this. The first thing that comes to me is the platform. And I know there are platforms where women can rent out their closet, their clothes in their closet. And to me, it's like a female version of, you know, the tool shed. That's what you're trying to do. And in presenting it, I was, when you say, hey, this is, if you say, this is the Airbnb at blank, or this is the, and I don't know the name of those.
Rent the one way, rent the one way.
Yeah, rent the closet or not. But it kind of like, that summarizes it right then and there. And secondary, it gives you a platform that already exists.
Yeah, so you're trying to say like that when presenting it, there's also there are a lot of other platforms that do peer-to-peer rental things to pull ideas from, and also relate to, right?
And there's coding that exists that people have already created and made.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah, and that is something I have been wondering about. I'm definitely not far enough along to understand, is this a blank slate kind of coding environment, or is this a, hey, borrowlens.com and rent the closet, whatever.com, can we use your, who's your backend? Do you license your software? So that is actually a really good point.
But people who started that business, or executives who are running that business, once they get to a steady state, they may be looking for for other business opportunities, and they can take that skill set and join it, marry it to yours. So if I would encourage you to seek out people who, if there's people in this area who are involved in those kinds of businesses, to at least have a conversation and just ask questions.
It's a good idea, thank you. Yeah, I am definitely at the stage where I need to start thinking about who I should connect to, and coding was obviously one, but that's another good idea, is to look for those similar industries that might be more mature, that want to start jumping into the next thing. Thank you. Yes?
It seems like you're going for people like yourself who have tools. What about? I'm just curious, other shops. Is that an interest to you, or I don't know? I was just curious.
So the question is, I'm targeting kind of people that are similar to me, hobbies, mechanics. You say shops, as in repair shops?
Yeah, like if they have a bunch of tools, or maybe they have hey, use my tool, I'll give you some free. I don't know how it works. But.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't really know the demand of the shops right now. I know the demand of the consumer market, but that is a really important thing. I would never exclude them. A lot of shops nowadays tend to buy parts the same way consumers buy parts, just with a discount. So they use the same portals, they use the same vendors, and so on. So there's no reason the shop would be able to be like, hey, Bob's Repair Shop has got 40 Audi tools for things, and we're going to throw them up there to make some side income, right? Because we know that we rarely get those tools used in this exact locality. So yeah, shops are something I've considered and curious, but I haven't approached it too much anymore. Yes?
Nice presentation. I like that dads everywhere and objects everywhere are moving on to a platform like that. I think thinking about my dad as I thought like how many hours of time would you save if there was access to that? How dependable I think also that target market people are for trading hardware. When you think about address and all the things that go wrong with address, line, the hard piece of hardware that rent out at a very good cost that would likely be returned in good condition because it's a hard metal. When you think about having that inventory, having liabilities, insurance platform, insurance in the period as well, it seems like the operating cost of that platform would be going actually pretty way to win or really like the so if I had others on the policy, what's your
Okay, so the question is, when this idea fruits and there are competitors all of a sudden realizing what's my long-term differentiator in the future, right? So I thought about this one as well, and to Mike's point, I'm feeling like right now I kind of want to develop the software in-house so that it can be a more flexible, licensable rental, peer-to-peer rental platform, which I happen to apply to this, which I'm really passionate about, but then be able to lease this software and make it from day one very flexible to be able to say, all right, we're not renting tools anymore, we're renting farm implements, okay, or whatever that might be, whatever your niche interest is. I have friends that are like in mining industries, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this wire gripper that costs $100,000 we use once, we need to be able to, I'd love to be able to have a mining electrical wire harness subversion of this. I'm like, okay, great. So hearing all those weird use cases is a really interesting idea to say, all right, maybe the software should really be that end game, but through my own passion, will drive the development of that software to build out something that I like. That answers your question.
Follow-up question. So you have a pricing list for AV equipment, rentals, cameras, having that for yourself also. Are you thinking about that as well?
So the question was kind of like with AV equipment, photo rental, like borrowlens.com is a big person that does this already. Is Sean's Toolbox ever going to own inventory? At this point, I like to say no. I really like the idea of it not owning anything other than maybe like paper and paperless, because I want it to be that peer-to-peer driven thing. Like I, as the individual Leif Dyrsten, will definitely have tools up on that website, but probably not Sean's Toolbox now. But that could change. Yes.
So, in the concept of monetization, have you looked at, or when you're on that, as you're looking at taking the software that you make proprietary to DAO, will you be taking a transaction fee off of each situation? And if so, what would your critical mass be that transactions are going to, like the Visa MasterCard concept? You take $1 off each transaction, you run 300 transactions a day, pass the amount of times 48 days or whatever. Are you thinking about that at all?
So I guess what you're proposing is if I license this software out to other marketplaces in the future, what the revenue model might be with, is it with pre-transaction for these other
I'm
markets?
sorry, each person doing a transaction on Shopify. So whether it was leasing the back end and rebranding it out front to another rental space that got that fee, would be internally to Sean's Toolbox. If Alex needed my tool and I package my tool into the process, are you taking a fee on that?
Correct. That's exactly how it would work in this presented fortune. It could change a lot, but yes, it will be, hey, I rented this to you for $200 per week, and I take, it also costs $10 for that transaction and the insurance and all that good stuff, so we keep $10, so it's actually $210, and you keep $200 per person that rented it out. So that would be how it is. Do anyone else have a question yet? That's a good point. So just saying that things that are maybe this might be well served by even other markets that don't have such heavy metal clunky things to ship around, right? Yeah, and to that point, like you're not going to be shipping a $10 or $20 tool in this platform. You're going to lose it in the shipping costs. So these are tools that you can't invest in. Probably like $100 is the minimum cost of a tool. And some tools could be hundreds of dollars. Some tools can be thousands of dollars for cars. It's crazy. That's why you get so shocked when you look at the repair bill for your car. Who here's ever had an expensive car repair bill? Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So as we're thinking about building that network of that critical mass, one thing I recall, not organized, or bad tip, but I've noticed like O'Reilly Auto Parts stores has a sign that says "We Love Tools." There's also like up in Ballard, where there's like the Ballard Toolbox. Like would those be places that you engage with as early participants in your network? Good enough so that inventory stock to attract other individuals to also contribute and create, again, that critical mass. They also might be good models to take a look at, see what they're doing, to see what they can do better, or even create software for them to create sort of their own management infrastructure.
That's a good point. So I'm really glad you brought this up. So O'Reilly's and AutoZone, they all have tools that they'll lend out, which you're like, they already do that. Oh, wait. And actually, they'll do it for free, by the way. It's free. But it's, they'll show you a placard about this big of the tools that you can lend out. And these are called, like, I call them pseudo specialty tools. Like, oh, you can pull off, it's a steering wheel puller vice clip, right? Which works for some domestic models and maybe a few import models, and that's kind of it. So those are kind of like, they'll work broadly on things, but they stop very short of the larger, huge tool library that is. The place in Ballard, right? Yeah, I've been there before, and so they have, again, a couple of things like that, but I think that there's a ceiling at any time where it's a one-to-many relationship of like, we are the person that owns the tools, we lend them out to people. It's just so infeasible to have 100,000 tools in stock. What if two people want one of those tools? You have 2,000 tools in stock. So, but I don't discount the idea of being able to work with those and seeing how they're using them as a model. So like I use Airbnb as a model for service information exchange, and Lens rental or rlens.com is another one. That's another big model. Thank you. Nick, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I have three common ideas. The first is ultimate MVP, the minimal viable product, and instead of have an app, essentially you could aim for a online platform first, and then build an app after you go down that online platform. And essentially before that online platform, you might be able to even hack together, define some laws that you figure out how to expect them to create a sort of a really rough online platform to deliver your services in a way that you can actually hit the ground running.
Yeah.
First, and the third thing is.
Well, can I answer your first one? Because I won't forget everything.
Yes,
Sorry.
okay.
So the first one first. So your thinking is, well, what if I didn't do app first? What if I did web-based first? And that I do vacillate for sure. Like, I'm not really sure which one. And you do make another good point, which is, what's the MVP? What's the minimum viable product? And can I just hodgepodge existing tools around? Because we know there's tons of tools out there that can be used for parts of this. And I guess my only concern with that is that I can't physically be the person managing those things. It would have to be a computer logic that does shipping, confirmations, and all that kind of stuff. And I would worry that if I went into that and was like, all right, this is hodgepodge together and looks and works okay from a user perspective, that means it's probably a nightmare from a management perspective, which that might not be the case, but I have kind of thought that through a little bit, and I'm not sure, that like I get stuck in that.
I have a few thoughts, so that's not that great. The third thing is what about testing it out maybe at a hackathon. Not something your whole idea, but like maybe something I want to create a shared platform for something else to try to come up with maybe work on another project to build relationships with developer-minded.
That's another really good point, is I haven't actually worked on a team or worked with people that have developed or made software solutions or web apps or any of that. And that's kind of why I moved to Seattle partly. I was like, oh, I'm going to get a job here, and then I didn't. So that kind of went out the window, and I'm doing my own thing instead right now. So that was an intentional idea. It's like, I don't know what that development life cycle looks like from being in it. I've only observed it, and so I think that's a really good point, is you become really good at something by doing it possible. This is why like people who work in restaurants go on to have their own restaurants. People who work at Amazon leave Amazon and go open up their own competitor and open up their own application. So that's a good point. Thank you for that. Yes.
On that point, I know that there's, like, for example, you can use Squarespace will have marketplace templates. You can Stripe marketplace, ours shipping application on top of that. So all that shipping templates just
Yeah, that's a good point. I am very open to that feedback, is that it could be very cobbled together and not be as terrible as I think it is. So I have a lot of thinking to do about that. Thank you. Any last question? Oh, is this the last question? Or no question, that's fine too.
Somebody said something. I think
I do agree with
it's-
your question.
Well, I think it's a good idea, and I missed the presentation, but I've heard you talk about this previously. But the idea of like who out there is already lending, like as terms of low-hanging fruit, so that early adopter customers will see a large variety of critical mass of options. I just feel like I've heard like a different version of that, and I'm wondering like if you have a really specific how-to strategy for how you're going to start building your early adopters, and how you get this inventory on there like to be ready for them.
I do have one idea, which would be to go to my two brand niches, old Porsches, old BMWs, and go on their forums and say, look, hey, we're starting a service up. You want to list your tools online? It costs you nothing, and you'll get a discount for a certain period when you go rent yourself. And just, all you do is snap a photo, put a thing in, and put it up. It'll go live on this date. But we're trying to get people in to beta test people. Since there's nothing out there like this, and everyone that I've talked to that's in this industry is like so interested in this idea, I feel like it wouldn't be a hard sell to be like, turn that thing that's in your bottom tool shelf into money.
Restaurants do it, right?
Yeah.
I'm learning that restaurants do that with
Really?
commercial kitchens. So like I was thinking that commercial kitchen was this industry of like our business is you come in and use a commercial kitchen. No, it's a restaurant that just has off hours that you're allowed to come in and use their certified commercial kitchen to produce your goods. So like when you were mentioning that auto repair shops and places that might, or somebody was mentioning already have that inventory, it's like, hey, here's an awesome way for you to start making passive income right now. Like you know what the repairs will go down for the next week. What tools don't you need? What tools can you rent out this week? I think that that's a really good opportunity.
And what tools do you have spare of that are models that used to work on a lot, but now they're much older. They've gone to more of a consumer market for repairs, and what can you use? That's a great idea. Yeah, I need to start making connections to people that have cars, but I'm very insular and I like work in my garage. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll repair that. And I'll make friends in other industries. So, good point. Thank you so much.
And the question that we like to ask all our presenters, what can the 1 million cooks community do for you?
I actually remembered to put something down for this and forgot it. I had something great. Basically, I want to, if you have someone in your life where you are that person, which I know you guys are based on the hand raising thing, I want to talk to those people that would maybe want to use this tool and have things like that. So if you have automotive people, I'd love to chat. Otherwise, all the feedback has been very wonderful. I'm very excited. Thank you.
Okay, so something